the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them into the earth. Okay, and I believe the third part was at the house of Judah. I forget the breakdown of the point for point, you know. So it says, and the dragon stood before the woman, right, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Okay, and you read about that within the history, how that when the Lord was going to be born, okay, the Edomites that was in rulership at the time put certain measures in place. It was something, right? They put certain measures in place, right, to have it to where it was good, right? They put measures in place to make it to where the Lord wasn't going to be born. Now, see, here's the interesting thing about that statement. Here it is, you had it to where you had the ancient Roman Empire, okay, you had the prophets on the scene, the men of the Lord, they was getting it in there saying, look, the Lord's going to return. John the Baptist saying, look, there's going to be one that's going to come mightier than that. That's how he's getting down. And you had it to where the rulers that were there at the time, they're saying, look, okay, that's what this individual is saying. Okay, at the time that he has a prophesied, let's go for all of Jerusalem and eliminate this threat. That's going to be a threat to our empire. Okay, and that's the same thing you got right now. You got to where the people that are in rulership, they're seeing the men of the Lord over there on YouTube. Okay, right, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, bringing the word out, going in heavy. Okay, going heavy on the spirit, bringing in out all the secrets, the dark things that you're gonna be sanctified to understand within these scriptures. Okay, right, bringing all of that information out. Okay, so they're saying, look, we gotta find a way of stopping this, and ultimately they know that the Lord's coming back. In other words, they know who these people are, man. Okay? Be not deceived. These people are known unto the elite banking families. And if it wasn't for the power of Yahweh Hashem outside, having to where they fear these people, okay, right, he would have destroyed us. In fact, the scripture, the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter tells you that. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of them that afflicted him. Right, so it's through the power of Yahweh Hashem outside. You got to where these camps is popping up all over the place, man. Okay, so let's get back within the scriptures here. Revelations 12:5, and she brought forth a man child, which was Yahweh Shai. We're gonna read about Yahweh Shai's return within the book of Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. Before I go back onto Obadiah, showing you that this statement, this sentiment of what he said here within the book of Obadiah, okay. Thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith, who shall bring me down. That sentiment of not being there, nobody's going to be able to be brought down, that's null and void, man. Okay, now you can look at Russia and say, look, no, Russia ain't going to bring you down. And you could be partly right, okay? For the most part, you're going to be right. You can look at Iran and you say they're insignificant, right? Because when you do look at how this whole global political and economic system works, it works in the favor of America. Okay, when you go into these different nations like Saudi Arabia, right, like China or whatever, they're buying arms from America. Well, guess what? Those arms technology that they're going to have out there within America is going to be of a higher grade. It's going to be of a better standard. They created the damn thing. Okay? They created those instruments. Okay? Because his blessing is the sword. So in his mind, it's like, look, if my blessing is the sword, who's going to bring me down? Right? But the scripture is saying, look, you're going to be brought down, man. Okay, and you're going to be brought down through the power of Yahweh Hashem outside. And Esau, being a carnal individual, he can't comprehend those spiritual things. That's why when he was presented with the birthright, okay, he couldn't comprehend the profitability, the longevity of that. Okay, that makes that because a person that's carnal never understands anything of longevity. If you go into the scripture talks about adultery. Okay. Right now, if you don't understand anything about longevity, well, that pleasure that you're going to have from adultery is going to last for a minute, but you're going to be dead pretty soon because the woman's man's going to come, he's going to chop your head off. There's no longevity on that. And that's the same thing with Esau. He said, look, I'd rather have that meat right now, right, which was the red pottage spoken about within the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. I'd rather have the pleasure of the now rather than the pleasure of the future. And that's how he lost his birthright. Okay? So he's a carnal person. So when he sees these prophecies about him being destroyed by Yahweh Hashem outside, that's beyond the realms of his understanding because he is a carnal individual. Okay? Let's get back into the scriptures right here. Revelations 12:6, it says, the woman fled into the wilderness, right, where she had a place prepared of the Most High, right, that they should feed her 1,002 days, 1,203 score days. Okay, spiritual number. Okay, and it says, and there was war in heaven. So this is now flipping into the future where Esau is going to take arms. He's going to try to fight against Yahweh Shai. Okay, right? It says, and there was war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought against and the dragon fought with his angels. Okay, so that's that battle playing out there, okay, of Esau, okay, the powers that build him, the government that is now, if you will, okay, the rulership of Esau, okay, the armies of Esau, all right, scattered throughout the corner, where you're talking about America, where you're talking about Germany, okay, all of those armies coming together to try and fight against Yahushua. Now let's flip over onto the book of, I'm going to finish that in a second. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter right quick. All right, let's put color, let's put some color to these scriptures. Okay, so 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Bear with me. Okay, 2nd Ezra, 13. Okay. 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and the first verse. It says, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream, right, by night. So he was saying he's seen a vision, right? This is what's going to happen within the future, okay? And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof, okay? And I beheld, and lo, a man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. So when you're reading this war between Michael and his angels fighting up against the red dragon, this is what we're speaking about right here. This is what the scripture's talking about right here. Okay, right? It says, strong with wax strong with the thousands of heaven. Okay, and it says, and when he turned his countenance to look upon the things, all trembled. Let me read that again. It says, and I behold, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled under him. Okay, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth. Okay. Whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they that burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when he faileth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, they gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of earth to subdue the man that came out of the sea. All right, that goes back onto the statement that was made. I believe it was Ronald Reagan that he said, if there was ever an extraterrestrial force that was going to come down, that's going to fight up against us, all the nations' armies upon the face of the earth was going to have to come together, right, to subdue this, to take this power down, okay? Because they understood the scriptures. They understood the prophecies that was written about within the scriptures. That's why you have movies like War of the Worlds. That's why you have movies like Armageddon with Will Smith. That's what all of those things is about. It's talking about that final battle that's going to be played out upon the face of the earth with Esau after the World War III, mind you. Okay, or in the midst of it, if you will. Okay, you're going to have World War III playing out so that Esau can conglomerate all the power onto himself. I don't know if that's the right usage of that word. Okay, he's going to have it to where he's going to have that World War III play out so he can amass all the resources of the world and distribute them as he will. Okay, and as he's doing that with this World War III thing and this chip being issued out, the Most High is going to send his son, and his son's going to intervene for the men of the Lord's sake. And we can read about that within the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter in a second. Okay? So for the men of the Lord's sake, the elect men, the Most High is going to send his son right in the midst of World War III, and then Esau is going to say, look, let's stop from fighting against each other. Let's go fight up against Yahushua. But let's read what the story says. Okay? And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the earth to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it, which is talking about the chariot he's going to come in, the fathership. But I would have seen the region where, or the place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, they were gathered together to subdue him, and they were so afraid, and yet durst fight. So when they saw Yahushua, okay, or when they're gonna see Yahushua, they were scared within their stomachs. That's why the scripture talks about the strangeness of our salvation. People gonna be scared about that. It's gonna be televised, man. Okay, everybody's got a smartphone. Everybody and their grandma's got a camera. So this thing of the Lord returning, everybody's gonna be seeing it. Okay, it's gonna go viral, if you can understand. So you can understand. Okay? So it says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held a sword or any instrument of war, but only But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it was a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Okay? So when that word came out, he said, look, destroy, 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 right, to them chariots. Well, guess what? That destruction came about. So let's go to Revelations, the 12th chapter, finish that off, and then go to Psalms, the 63rd chapter. Then I'll go back onto the book of Obadiah. Okay? So back within the book of Revelations, the 12th chapter. So it says there in the 9th verse, and a great dragon was cast out, the old serpent, the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world, right? And he was cast out into the earth, and his angels, and his angels with him. Okay, in other words, he was gonna lose this fight, man. Okay, here these Esau is gonna be coming with this earthly form of technology, and the Lord's gonna be coming with the technologies that created the earth. Esau's gonna lose, man. Okay, here it is. You got the boss that owns the chess company, and you're trying to play chess against the boss. The boss ain't gonna play chess with you. He owns that board, man. And that's what the Lord's gonna become, the same sentiment that the Lord's gonna be coming in. Here it is, the Lord created the whole earth, and you're gonna be trying to fight against the person that created the very things that you're using. It ain't gonna work, man. Okay? So Revelations 12 chapter and 10, it says, and I heard a loud voice saying, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of the Al-Shai Mashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down. Okay? Right? They accuse them before the Most High night and day. And that goes into the music industry. Okay? How that the music industry pretty much it just promotes wickedness. And what Esau does when all of this wickedness is executed by these Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, he goes before the Most High and accuses them and said, look, this is the people that you made a covenant with, okay? Right? Jack them up, okay? Or make it to where they ain't no the Israelites anymore, okay? Because he still wants that birthright, okay? He wants that birthright, but he only understands that birthright in a carnal sense, all right? So, Revelations, the 12th chapter and the 10th verse, 11th verse, and they overcame him by the blood of Yahushua, okay, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. That's talking about the men of the Lord. Because your duty, when you go into the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, it says the whole duty of man was to serve the Most High, right, and fear His commandments. Roughly paraphrased, right. So when you have it to where your duty is to do these things, okay, well, when you read the scriptures, you find out pretty much you're supposed to be out here getting this word in. And in so thinking, and in so doing, the scripture talks about that's what's going to be the instruments, or that's going to be the one of the necessities for the salvation to come about to those people, those men. Okay? Let's carry on here with this scripture right here. So, Revelations 12 and 12, so it says here, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell therein, woe unto the world and the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devils come down having great wrath, knowing he hath a short time. Okay, so when Esau is going to come down now, see this, the whole scripture there is flipping back and forth in time there. Okay, so these events, Michael fighting up against the angels, Yahushua getting involved, getting in. I'm going to read about that now within the book of Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. Okay, with all of those things happening, and Esau knowing that it's going to happen, because he has his researchers that go out there and do all of these expeditions to see whether the things that are said within the scriptures is true. Okay, right, and in so doing, okay, he's pretty scared right now, seeing that you go to where the prophets are being risen up, as it said within the scriptures, you shall see your teachers. Now you go to where the prophets is risen up. He's getting real scared, so he's going to come down heavy on this truth pretty soon. We're going to read about that within the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, a little bit later on, after I finish Obadiah. But let's go now to Obadiah and Psalms, the 83rd chapter. So let's go now to Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, and read down the manner in which the Lord is going to make His return. Okay? So Isaiah 63 and 1, it says, who is this that cometh from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? And the Lord said, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. And he says, wherefore art thou ready in thine apparel? All right? And like him that treadeth the wine fat. It says, I have trodden the wine fat alone, and of the people that was none with me. For I will tread them down in mine anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments. That's the manner in which the Lord's going to come. So this notion that is spoken about within the book of Obadiah, the third chapter of who shall bring me down, well, ultimately the Lord, that's the sentiment, that's the rhetorical question that Esau has in his mind. But just as all stupid rhetorical questions, they always have an answer. See, you can have a rhetorical question and it'll be of intelligence. Like the Most High says, who's going to be above me? Well, nobody's going to be above the Most High. So that's a true rhetorical statement. But see, when you have it to an Esau the devil, okay, right? Esau the deceiver is like, who's going to bring me down? Well, that's a stupid statement because there is a power that is above, which is Yahweh Shimei Shai. And we just read about not only how he was going to be destroyed, but who was going to destroy the so-called army of America or Germany or Britain. Okay? All of this nuclear arsenal that they built up and amassed themselves to control people by fear-mongering, well, the Most High set it up to where the son of Yahweh, which is Yahweh Shai, was going to be the instrument, was going to be the bringer of salvation, and in bringing salvation, he has to bring destruction, man. Okay? He has to bring about destruction. Okay? And that goes to show you that the Most High is all about balance, man. Okay? Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, so he's out there saying, look, I'm on top of everything right now. And that's what Esau's been doing since the inception of the world reserve currency. Esau's been balling, man. Okay, America's the greatest country. Britain's whole hegemony, okay, going back onto the British Empire, which later spawned into the American Empire, okay, the American way of life, okay, which was the pinnacle of Esau's power, okay? Britain was in control of these different nations, man. Their colonies were out there in India, okay, all the way out there. I believe Japan might have been a colony. So they had the world underneath subjection. But what did they do with that power? They did all types of wickedness, man. Same thing when you later had it to where America was the one that was calling the shots, okay? They did all types of wickedness with that power, but just like as the scripture says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, so you had it to where the Greeks, when they were in power, they did their thing, and that later spawned into the Roman Empire, which was the same people, okay, he will do, Lord's will, okay? Right, when you had all of those things happen, they exalted themselves, man, okay? So though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, that's what I bring thee down. So you go start sending your so-called UFOs out there into outer space, the Lord was going to start bringing you down there, man. Okay? It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how are the things of Esau, how are that cut off? Would they have not stolen till they had enough? Right? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? And that's an important statement regarding Esau's behavior, because his thing is to just take everything, man. His thing is just to take everything. He goes out into, and I'm going to read about that within the book of Habakkuk. In fact, okay, I'm going to read that again, and I'm going to read the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, because that goes hand in hand. All right. So let's.
Yes, they are.
Bear with me a little bit. Bear with me one. Yeah, there we go. Right. So back within the book of Obadiah 1 and 6, it says, 1 and 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they have not stolen till they had enough? So if you had it to where thieves came to, if thieves came to Esau, would they have not stolen till they had enough stuff? Okay? Right? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? So when you have, within our custom, within Hebrew culture, okay, if you're having it to where you got a harvest, and you got grapes, and you're gleaning, I believe the word is gleaning, okay, so you're gleaning them grapes, but what you do is you leave, I think it's about 10% you leave of those grapes, so that the poor folk, okay, the ones within Israel that didn't want to work, won't have to work. Okay? So it says here, this is the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. The point is in the 5th chapter, but I'll start from the top. Habakkuk 2 and 1. I will stand up on my watch. This is talking about the men of the Lord, right? Now set me upon a tower, and will see what he will say unto me, right? And what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come, it shall not tarry. Okay? So you got some of our people, some of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, they are willingly ignorant, okay, of the prophecies of the Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay? Though it seems that it tarries, okay, this thing with World War III, the mark of the beast, really it's not tarrying. Because the scripture says that Esau is going to come down heavy knowing he has a short time. So really, Esau's moving as the fastest space he's ever moved. Okay? Esau's moving as faster than he's ever moved before. Okay? But because if you're willingly ignorant, you're going to miss you're going to miss the prophecies of the Most High coming to pass. For a lot of people out there that don't believe the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, okay? They're gonna go over the fact that Esau's just had it to where a company out there is issuing out this RFID chip as a means of opening doors within this company. A lot of people are gonna be willingly ignorant of the fact that that's the RFID chip coming full swing. Okay? So the scripture says here that although it tarry, really it's not tarry, it shall surely come to pass, man. Which is the end of Esau's rulership. And when you read the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter and the 9th verse, we know that the end of Esau's rulership is the beginning of Jacob's rulership, and this rulership is going to be the rulership of the righteous. And when the righteous is going to rule,